What if I told you that the world's biggest pirate story isn't just a story? What if it's actually a kind of manual for navigating our own reality? A coded message about freedom, about history, and maybe even about what comes after death? Okay, let's get into this. We've all heard this line a million times, right? But what if it's more than just a dream? According to the sources we're digging into, this is a declaration of fact, a statement so certain it actually bends reality. We're going to break down how this one single phrase might just hold the key to understanding our own world. All right, here's the route we're going to take today. First, we'll look at the shocking parallels between One Piece and our world. Then, we'll sail into a hidden history that might have been erased on purpose. From there, we'll face the ultimate system of control, figure out how to choose our own adventure, and finally, reveal what the One Piece could really mean for every single one of us. So let's kick things off with this huge idea that One Piece is way more than just anime. The sources we're looking at see it as a letter of freedom, tucked away inside the story of this goofy, rubbery pirate who just wants to have fun. The whole argument here is that Luffy and his crew fighting a corrupt world government, well, that's a direct mirror for the systems of control we see in our own reality. In a world that often wants us to be serious and afraid, choosing joy isn't just fun, it's an act of rebellion. And that's pretty much the heart of the pirate's code, isn't it? And you won't believe how specific these parallels get. In the anime, you've got information control. Try to read those forbidden poneglyph stones, and it's a death sentence. There's economic manipulation, with a global tax called the Heavenly Tribute. We see false flag operations, where pirates get blamed for things the government does. And, of course, the classic divide and conquer strategy. Keep the Marines and the pirates fighting each other, so nobody ever looks at the real rulers sitting at the top. And that leads us to the most important question of all. Look, the point isn't just to sit here and analyze the story. It's to see ourselves in it. Once you start recognizing these patterns, the real question is, what does that awaken inside of you? Okay, so if the systems of control are a mirror, what about the history they're designed to protect? In One Piece, we have the Void Century, 100 years of history just gone, erased by the world government. Well, the sources we're exploring suggest something eerily similar might have happened in our own past, tying into theories of a lost, advanced global civilization. So, in the anime, the Void Century is this total black hole in the history books. Now, look at the image on the right. This is where the theory we're looking at suggests we might have our own Void Century. These are pictures of grand, incredibly complex buildings from the 19th century. Proponents of what's called the Tartarian theory argue that this kind of architecture just doesn't line up with the whole horse and buggy story we're told about that time period. It suggests a global society that was way more advanced than we think, one that was maybe intentionally forgotten. The evidence they point to is, well, it's pretty wild. We're talking about massive cities with architecture that seems impossible for the time, coordinated canal and railway systems, city grids that suggest a level of global planning we're told just didn't exist back then. The theory goes that this knowledge wasn't just lost to time, it was systematically erased and replaced. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If whole chapters of our shared history can be ripped out of the book, what have we forgotten on a personal level, on a spiritual level? What kind of inner knowledge have we been convinced is just a myth? And that brings us to what our sources call the ultimate tool of control, the fear of the unknown, and more specifically, the fear of death. What if the biggest secret that's been kept from us isn't about some lost empire, but about the true nature of our own consciousness and what really happens when our voyage in this life is over? This brings us to something called an out-of-body experience, or an OBE. It's defined as a state where your consciousness actually separates from your physical body. According to consciousness explorer Darius J. Wright, it's essentially a trial run for death, a way to see what's on the other side without it being, permanent. Now, this is a massive claim. The idea here is that life after death isn't something you have to believe in or have faith in. It's an experienceable reality. For the people who've consciously done this, it's not a theory anymore. It becomes direct personal knowledge. It stops being a question of what if and becomes a knowing of what is. And here is the real bombshell. If this is true, then according to Wright, death isn't real, and there is absolutely nothing to fear. Just imagine, what would happen if everyone truly knew that? The entire foundation of control systems built on fear would just crumble. How do you control people who aren't afraid of the ultimate punishment? This is presented as the ultimate liberation. It's a pirate's true freedom, to live so fully and joyfully without any fear of the end. Okay, so if fear is the lock, then creation is the key. Now we're going to explore a framework that's all about stopping our constant reaction to the world and instead actively choosing the reality we want to experience, just like a pirate choosing their next island adventure.
This brings us to a concept called reality transurfing. The basic idea is that reality isn't one solid, fixed thing. It's more like an infinite field of possibilities. Think of it like an old radio. You don't create the music, you just turn the dial to tune into the station you want to hear. Well, your thoughts and your intentions, they're the dial, tuning you into whichever lifeline or version of reality you want to experience.
This slide really breaks down the two ways of living, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the default setting for most of us, the common struggle. You're always battling outside problems, resisting what's happening, just living in a state of reaction. But the transurfing model on the right is a total shift. It's about making conscious choices, intentionally picking a desired path, and living in a state of creation. It's the difference between being a victim of the story and being the author of it.
So how does this actually work? Well, it's this thing called outer intention. It's not about gritting your teeth and forcing things to happen. It's when what you want in your heart and what you believe in your mind become one single unified thing. When you have that kind of pure certainty, like Luffy screaming, "I will become Pirate King," the external world literally starts to rearrange itself to match that inner reality. It's not a wish anymore, it's a knowing.
All right, this is it, the home stretch. We've connected the dots between the anime, our world, our hidden history, our deepest fears, and even a tool for choosing our own reality. So let's bring it all together and ask the biggest question of all. What then is the One Piece? It really all comes down to this one simple, incredibly powerful idea. You want to know Luffy's real power? His secret weapon? It's not the gum-gum fruit. It's not a special technique. It's that he never forgot he was free. He never once traded that inner freedom for security, for comfort, or for anyone else's approval. And that is the ultimate synthesis. That's the one truth that ties everything we've talked about together. Whether you look at it through the lens of transurfing, or the history of lost civilizations, or the example of Monkey D. Luffy, it all points to this. Your inner state creates your outer world. Period. Full stop. And that, my friends, is the treasure. According to these sources, the One Piece isn't gold or fame or power at the end of the grand line. It's the moment of remembering. It's that aha moment when you realize that all the chains, all the rules, all the limitations, they were illusions. You were always free. You just kind of forgot for a little while. And we're gonna end on this powerful idea. The path to freedom isn't about going out and fighting the systems or resisting the darkness. It's about embodying a different reality, so brightly, so completely, that the shadows just have nowhere left to hide. Your job isn't to fight the darkness. Your job is to be the dawn. And that really just leaves us with one last question. If you truly remembered right now that you are free, what would you choose to do today?